Oh boy. Hey everybody. Some of you might not recognize me. And by some of you, I mean probably most of y'all don't really give a crap. I don't blame you. Anyways, let's acknowledge the fact that he's shaved. Let's move on from the fact that he's shaved. Let's pretend that none of us ever saw nothing. Okay? Remember, deny, 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 deny it again. Cool? Cool. We're gonna just slide right into the actual topic of this video, not my disgusting mug. Instead, we're gonna move to something else because why should we bring up sin? When it comes down to it, this is a franchise that while the video is going to be titled Hopes and Wants, I have to lead with the simple fact that with much like many of these videos, I have already come to terms with the fact it'll never, ever happen. Not a single one of the things I'm about to say will ever happen, no matter how much I beg, wish, and look towards broken chicken bones and ask fortune tellers. They're all gonna give me the same answer of ain't not never gonna happen, fool. And they're all right. They're all completely right. It's never gonna happen. But F it. Why not talk about those hopes and wants? Because we're bored? I'm an idiot? Y'all are bored? Maybe you guys want to laugh at me. Probably the last one, especially this. And I don't blame you. Hell, if you want, I'll even give you a free shot. I looked at the posted chat of autism. Take that joke and run. Free license. Basically, this franchise is something that, at the time of its make, I actually kind of liked it. Yes, it was actually made for a slightly younger audience than myself at the time, but I liked it. I felt it had potential. I thought it was really neat. Whether it was the most, what's the word here? Innovative show, I don't feel like I have any room to talk about that part. So I think I'll just say F it and skip ahead to the part I can talk about. Which is that as much as I did like the initial show, I did feel like it kind of got a little bit worse in some areas. In some areas, it kind of stayed the same. And in other areas, I feel like it did kind of become a tad bit cooler to an extent. But I don't feel like it stayed that way. I felt like it kind of got worse. And to be honest with you, I can't be bothered to pay for the actual show that came out more recently. And on top of that, uh, gun to my head, I'm going to listen to my gut instead of other people. And I'm going to assume the worst. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Brace for it. Because it's probably a franchise some of you may know, some may not, and some may frankly not give a damn. And I can't blame any of them. When it comes down to it, I'm talking about Bakugan. I don't think I have my Bakugan on hand. They're probably shoved away somewhere. And I really don't feel like hunting them down on camera. Here's the thing, and this is a very key, important detail. Alright? As much as I do kind of like the TV show, are we talking about the TV show only? Hell no. No, we're not. Because, why do that? When we could talk about the whole franchise? Right? Great idea. When it comes down to it, I'm going to talk about the show a little bit more. Not by much. Thank God. Thank you. Thank you, merciful. Love, have mercy. Ay, Dios mío. Oh boy. But I am going to talk primarily the most about the games, the things where I have arguably as much and yet at the same time more experience. How do you have both? You'll find out. When it comes down to it, Bakugan, the franchise as a whole, is what I like to classify a mixed bag that has mixed bags. In other words, for everything you find that's good, that you like about it, there's going to be something about it you don't like. I can start that one off. When it comes down to it, a great example for me would be the season 2 of the show. That one for me was not so good. No, not because of writing. That's the fourth season's screw up to deal with. When it comes down to it, the show is just a nice example of start off with a solid blueprint. We can make this awesome without having to tear hair out or, snap limbs or anything like that. We don't have to go to extremes to get this to be amazing. Then there's the second season, which instead of improving upon the already existing formula with the pre-existing format, with the pre-existing characters, they decide to say, okay, pick 3 humans that get to stay and Drago staying but nobody else for Bakugan. Wait, what? Wait, what? Why? Why got so many? Why got pretty much the whole team and start with new guys? Why? What's the point? Actually, we could have saved some time, energy, effort, and sanity if, since this is supposed to be a sequel, it's supposed to be a season 2, maybe keep the core team. And if you're worrying about balancing them with Drago, do what you basically did anyways. Evolve those you had on the team. Does it just mean who thinks this is a very simple fix to a very stupid decision? Anybody? I'm probably alone on that, let's be real. Anyways, when it comes down to it, I just didn't like the new cast. My bigger problem with granted, was Mira was too obvious. Ace was kind of boring because it had already been done, really. And then there's Baron, the joke. The why are you even here edition of a joke. Why did you feel a need to make this character if you're not going to treat him with any respect or even write him to be interesting, useful, or compelling at all? Yeah, they try to have some compelling moments for Baron. Granted, none of those moments ever made me like the guy more. They just kind of reaffirmed the, why are you part of this resistance again? Why are you doing anything that you're doing again? Why do you exist, Baron? Why? And granted, it's not like it got better. They basically did the same thing again. Kept 3, the same 3, mind you. Ditched the people they had last time with new people again. Why? Season 4? You guessed it. But slightly different, I guess. Not in a good way, mind you, slightly different, but just different, I guess. And here's the thing. This is something to very much etch in your minds. That's the TV shows. The games shouldn't have any bearing or limitations imposed upon them by the TV show. Other than, this is how battles work, make it awesome. Go. Did they do that? Well, for the first game, they did a pretty darn good job. In fact, a very impressively good job. Did they take it as far as I would have preferred it and when it comes to certain aspects? No. Do I feel like, though, it was at least well enough done to a point where I had fun with it and was willing to play it at least a couple, 3, 4, 6 times? Yeah, I played it about 6 times once for each attribute. Now here's the thing. When it comes down to it, the original game has a very lovely decision. I love this decision. Alright? This is a good decision in my book. It's one of, in fact, the 3 best decisions in my opinion. And the first one I have to talk about, you choose your attribute. Sorry for the vibration. If you could feel that, some people can't, some can't. Oh well. When it comes down to it, in Bakugan Battle Brawlers, the game, instead of being a kind of, I'm gonna hope you can hear the background. If you can hear the background, I very much apologize, and I hate my internet because I just noticed it did that thing it sometimes does where it lags everything out to a halt. I hate you, Spectrum, so damn much. You are the worst god-awful internet provider ever. Sorry. Salt, pain, frustration, annoyance, anger, hate. Where was I? Oh yeah! Basically, when it comes down to it, Battle Brawlers makes this good decision allowing you to choose your element. Now, this might not sound like a big effing deal to nobody because you could pretty much replace whatever the hell element you clicked at first with some other element if you want. Or customize your team to be very flexible. Granted, it does kind of affect your clothing. Why it does that, I don't know. That's kind of sneaks into a stupid one, but we'll get to that later. Oh boy, this hurts a little. Basically, there's that decision allowing you to choose your element. That part's a good decision. Having the most voice acting of any PS2 game at the time is an impressive decision. Legitimately, everything's voice acted. The tutorial, voice acted. The characters, voice acted. Both big cutscenes and even them just giving you stupid crap like talking about, here's how you make your deck, here's the save button, here's this button. That's impressive. That is something that not too many were doing at the time. Don't get me wrong, people have been doing voice acting for games for a long time. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is to even have the tutorial voice acted. That's not common. Alright? That is something that's not even done in Final Fantasy games before, middle, or even now, from my knowledge. I still can't think of too many tutorials where it's fully voice acted every friggin' thing. Granted, can that be annoying? Yes. Yes, it can. But is it still kind of a, ooh, alright, neat? Yes, it is neat. Not always necessary. I don't need to be told to click X button to confirm an option, to be honest with you, but yeah, they kind of did that. Now here's the thing, it's something to note is that it's something that not too many games do. Final Fantasy XII, a game that released a year before it. In case you're curious, the reason why we're comparing these two is because they're both RPG focused instead of having dynamic active battles. They're both turn-based as well. Now, here's the thing. Arguably, some may not say it. I kind of feel it qualifies enough to be in that category, so I'm going to include it into the JRPG lineup. I don't know if you will. I do, because just close enough to meet the parameters needed for that. Now, when it comes down to it, again, Final Fantasy XII released an entire year before Bakugan Battle Brawlers. Now, Battle Brawlers, though, had voice-acted tutorials, and almost every single line of dialogue, no matter how meaningless it sounds, was voice-acted. And, largely, from what I could tell, from the original cast. I will have to look up more information later. But I've already spent an entire, 7, 8 days now? Researching and researching and researching and researching. I don't want to do any more research, alright? I don't want to do no more research. Oh, hell to the no. I'm done. I've done my research. I'm done. When it comes down to it, Why are we taking so long, you might be asking. King, why is it taking so long to get to the hopes and wants? The actual title of the video. Very simple. Because I want to make it very clear and very obvious I have too much history here. That's why. Now we can actually get to the actual point of this video, which is hopes and wants. Not just for the franchise, but largely my hopes and wants for the games. Especially since I did some research on their newest game. And I wanted to choke myself. I hated it. Oh my god. Only really one good decision was made in that game. One. Huh? Only one good decision? Are you kidding me? And in case you're curious, does that mean, oh, it must have the, good decisions made by some of the other games, right? Right? Oh, hell no. I can literally tell you right now with the poker face of God tier. No. If I was any more deadpan serious, oh my lord. I don't even think they... Oh, I can't even... My brain. Oh boy. When it comes down to it, their newest game, Bakugan Rising, this game, decided, instead of going back to the roots and being an awesome game, let's do a lot like what we did for Defenders of the Core, but fugly as all hell, and with none of the same good decisions, and got tons of good decisions. You're an idiot. 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 Ah! Here's the thing. The first thing they decided to gut, and they gutted it entirely. Voice acting. Wait. What? Why would you gut voice acting of all the things you could have gutted? Why that? That's the dumbest. I don't care that your excuse, it's not an excuse. It's just you being lazy and a piece of crap. Let's be real here, okay? Let's be honest, because I'm not happy about this decision. This decision disgusts me entirely. They gutted voice acting entirely, which was dumb as hell. That was something that actually made Defenders of the Core, that made Battle Brawlers awesome for their time. Nobody was doing it to that extent. Nobody. No, they weren't. Nobody had not just fully voice acted cutscenes, not fully voice acted, dialogue. Fully voice acted everything. Dialogue, tutorials, battle sentences, one-liners. The whole nine. If it was a single word in any way, shape, or form, it was voice acted. Entirely. That is not something common. Even for the PSP and PS3, where Defenders of the Core was released along with Xbox, I think it was Xbox 360, if I remember right. None of these things where this is a common thing. It wasn't. It isn't. Hell, there are still Final Fantasy games. There's still tons of other JRPGs where, guess what? They're not going that in-depth voice acting. Period. Now, that's already bad enough. But now let's also add in the fact that another terrible decision they decided to go with is, instead of going for the graphics and art styling of the PS2 game or the PSP game, the Xbox 360, they did none of that. They didn't even be bothered to go with the same graphics and art styling from the MMO. I wish I was joking with you. They decided to go with an art style so god awful to a point where it actually looks dozens of times worse than the PS2 game on the Switch. Now, before some moron manages to utter the sentence, let me cut you off now. No, the Switch is not so pathetic in its hardware that it can't do better than a PS2 game. If you were about to utter that, you are not too smart. Or you're just not a gamer, and in that case, you're excused. But the thing is, the hardware inside the Switch is actually definitely strong enough to match a PS3. Let's be honest here. In fact, while not to the extent of PS4, it could go pretty decently close enough for a tiny little sucker. You could probably see mine in the background. But I digress. When it comes down to it, the Switch is not a weak console, truly. Does it have a different focus than its competitors? Yes. It has a vastly different focus, obviously. You can take it to go. And in fact, in some ways, in my experience, it has the potential to actually outpace and even outmatch the PSP pretty easily. Now, whether or not it can beat out a Vita, I wouldn't know because I've never had one. Also, never really had a huge reason to get one either. When it comes down to it, and I'm going to be honest with you, it was already bad enough you gutted voice acting. To go with probably the worst art style I've ever seen in a game period. That's not good. Here's the thing. It does bring back the character creator. Is it a better character creator or about the same? I feel like it's a bit too close to the same for my comfort personally. But I've seen worse, so So let's look at how it is so far. Character creator is at best. The voice acting is gone for some moron reason. The art styling is god awful. Okay, what about battles? What about the battles, right? Right? What about battles? What about the battles, man? What about the battles? The battles have been ruined. Well, I shouldn't say ruined. More like went in the world's dumbest direction I can think of. Even if you're someone who's not the biggest fan of Switch, this gameplay is trash when compared to its prior games. Compared to the MMO. Oh, wow, that's disgusting. Compared to Defenders of the Core, which I don't even like Defenders of the Core. Defenders of the Core to me wasn't that fun because it literally all boiled down to go defeat endless waves of enemies until you can either destroy the crystal or one of the infamous Vexos Bakugan gets sent out, you wreck him, and then hopefully destroy the crystal. Sometimes you have to destroy waves as the Vexo Bakugan is running out and about. Oh yay, interesting. Wait for the crystal to be weak, hurt the crystal, rinse, recycle, repeat. Don't get me wrong, there are some cool ideas. I do like the idea of instead of going from a turn-based to a more action-packed. But that's the thing. Then we have to go in and look at the newest one, which is run your human character to a hexagon that's glowing so you can then throw it to your Bakugan so you can power up your buttons so you can pop an ability. Huh? That's it? That's just it. That's it? Really? That's just it. So stupid. I'm also simultaneously not necessarily a fan of the idea of my Bakugan being even less of a fun thing to do than plucking my eyebrows. I don't pluck my eyebrows. And I'd still rather go and do that. That should say something. When I'm so bored that I would rather do anything else, that says something negative. Now you could argue that the original game was boring, and that's not entirely wrong. And that's a very fair point. It could be a little bit boring if you're someone who's not into turn-based games. Here's the catch, though. I had more involvement in that game, because I would typically try and be landing my Bakugan on my card, trying to make sure that during certain maps I'm picking up items to try and give myself that edge. Then I'm typically trying to use cards in the right ways to try and maximize my overall Bakugan's destructive potential. And then trying to play it tactically, making sure that even if I can't make it so it's a shutout victory right then and there with just the G power, making sure that I make sure to make it up for it with the mini game that you would play. Yes, you would play a mini game. Granted, were there that many? No, you played one of 3 mini games. You either did shoot, power, or timing. Now here's the thing. I was absolute, complete, god awful trash at the power battle. Anyone who knows me is going to be shocked I didn't just say timing. But no, actually I did really good at the timing one. And have, for some reason, done an acceptable job at it always. I don't know. I feel like I got lucky, to be honest. When it comes down to it, the thing is, and this is a key thing to remember, in Defenders of the Core, they went from, instead of a turn-based with some slight minor strategy and some smart play here and there, instead it went for an action pace. It went for you taking control of your Bakugan, wrecking shot by either spamming the square button, spamming triangle, or launching as many freaking ranged attacks as you can like a cheap turd. No, I didn't do that one, shockingly enough. But when it comes down to it, though, is to go from really smart tactical, slightly tactical play, I should say, to really cool, needed some expanding and some enhancing here and there and fleshing out more, but a really solid foundation for an action-paced Bakugan game. To then go from, I just go grab blue hexagon and throw. Rinse, recycle, repeat. That's every battle. Yeah. No. No thank you. Hell no. Now, here's the thing. We went from what's wrong. We talked about what was some good decision. We talked about some bad decision. Let's talk to the actual meat of this video. My internet just died. Great. Of course. Oh boy. Let's just try and roll with that moronic garbage. Thanks, Spectrum. When it comes down to it, what I wish, want, and hope that would have happened, what will happen, won't happen. What I would love to have happen, even though it never will, is I would love for Bakugan to, whoever's in charge of the whole project, I would love for him to get an ant up his derriere and say, you know what? Let's see what this original game on the PS2 was like. Let's see what we can work with off of that. I hope he sees it. I hope he sees the original game. I hope he sees the potential that got completely lost on the person who was in charge of Defenders of the Core. Lost on the Geogon. Lost on the MMO. What I want, and it'll never happen, but I would love it if whoever does manage to finally take charge of the whole project, I hope he sees just how big the disparity is from what could have made money and what was actually released. I hope he realizes what was wrong and what was actually wanted by too many people, which is not Defenders of the Core, surprising to some people, but a sequel to the first game. An actual sequel of, this is your character you played in the first game. Here's Leonidas, your homie Omega Leonidas up in here to wreck fools. That's what we wanted. We wanted a continuation of the storyline. Here's the thing. If we could have played, if Defenders of the Core, instead of being this crystal thing in another, alternate dimension, it would have been awesome and far better, in fact, if instead we were in the same dimension of the first game and we were following our character we played in that first game, continued it along. Shocking, I know. Probably hard to believe for some. But from what little I've been able to gather, there's a very large number of people. A very large. I don't know if it's more, but I know it's large. number of people who would have far preferred an actual direct sequel to that original game over Defenders of the Core. And I will admit, I am one of them. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Here's what I would love. I would love it if they took some of the gameplay aspects, some, not all, but some of the gameplay aspects that was in Defenders of the Core, take that, and make it have a weird gameplay baby with the first game. When it comes down to it, all in all, again, like I said, you don't need to tell me. I am already very painfully aware. Nothing I'm saying or shall say now will ever happen. I am aware, and that's depressing. But oh well. What I would actually like, I would actually love it if Dan and the Brawlers and everyone they've fought so far, I wish they weren't in the games. I said it. I said it. I said it. I meant it too. It's kind of the same issue I had with SAO Gun Gale. Or sorry, Fatal Bullet. My bad. When you make it so it's directly linked to the show too much, and especially when you have this already existing, cast of badasses who've all proven themselves, it kind of makes it hard for you, the player, to get into it. I know it was like that for me especially, as I had troubles actually dealing with the fact that my character is kind of pointless. Why the hell are they there at all? What's their purpose? Dan's there. You have the other 5 battle brawlers as well. So what's my character's purpose in existing in this world? Why is he a protagonist or a hero or an anybody? Why do they matter? You have a literal army of 6 other people who have already tested themselves as badasses, proven themselves as badasses. What's the purpose of my character? Why? Why do I matter at all in this storyline? And kind of like with Fatal Bullet, I'm left thinking there is no point to it. It was an oversight in the writer's department because the writer couldn't be bothered to think for 5 seconds about whether or not this even makes sense to even have a protagonist if you have already a total of 6 people who can all act as a protagonist at the drop of a pen. In the future games, you need to have no reference to the actual show other than where are they now, or hey, do you remember that one group? What was their name again? I don't know. And that's it. It has to end like that. And I don't know. Either because we're too far flung into the future, or because they've faded off the map and gone into retirement or some BS, okay? Like sipping a Virgin Mai Tai or some BS, okay? They need to not be such a huge, giant, I'm going to call what it actually is for the overall potential and overall importance and relevance of the protagonist of the game, called a giant noose. I'm sorry, but the protagonist kind of, when you think about how many others could easily have replaced your character with little to no effort, it kind of makes the character seem meaningless. That's a problem. And stupid. And dear, holy, disgusting F, this video is a lot longer than I wanted to, but at the same time, I'm not surprised either, strangely enough. Between the amount of research, history, the hoping and desire and wanting these games to get better and better, for the franchise to kind of bounce back, freaking Rocky style, ready to hit hard, hit fast, and hit again, none of that's happened, obviously, because, yeah, I'm talking about it, obviously, and not talking about it in a positive way, the way I want to talk about it. To be honest, I could go another mile with hopes, wants, but when it comes to this specific franchise, especially this franchise, because I know who actually owns all the rights to it, I don't have good high hopes. I have the expectation it'll stay the way it is or get worse, and it'll never be an amazing franchise the way I have always wanted it to be. And that kind of saddens me a good bit. I'm gonna try something a little different. I'm gonna try. I haven't had comments on for a while because I was just sick of the bots who were just like insta posting. Like, I don't mind people hustling on my channel. I don't mind you hustling. All right, you got a business you want to promote? That's fine with me. All that I ask is you have at least enough respect to just watch 30 seconds of the video. You watch 30 seconds of it, hustle. Go for it. Promote your business. You're someone who does a camp service? Go hustle. I'm fine with that. Just have enough respect to watch 30 seconds. Doesn't have to be you paying attention to it or it being white noise. I would, as long as it's just something in a background for 30 seconds. Guess what? I'm fine with you hustling then. All right? Promote. All right? Do what you got to do to make ends meet then. Just have that much respect at the minimum. All right? Just watch 30 seconds. Have it play for 30 seconds. All right? I don't care if you're 100% tuned in or if you're using it like what it's intended to be, what this entire channel is really intended to be, which is white noise. Something you play in the background while you're doing other stuff. That's the whole focus of this channel. That's the whole point of this channel. Hopefully you guys, probably all y'all laughed at me. Let's be real here, alright? You probably all laughed at me. And I am probably one of you, / cracking probably as many, if not more jokes. Because I'm like, y'all, I gotta see it in the mirror and start making jokes at myself all over again. Hopefully you guys found this interesting, entertaining, unique, a nice joke to make fun of or to laugh with. Or all the above. Hey, let's go for all the above, you know? Alright, I will see you all next time. I